So one time, hey, Rex here, how you doing? So one time, I forget exactly which range we're on when we're doing our Rex Defense journeys and adventures, right? A variety of different ranges across the world and across the country for the classes. Had a lot of good fun there. We're posing for the class photo. A bunch of dudes that look pretty scary, with all their man gear on, right? All their manly man gear, right? Dressed like Robin Hood Men in Tights type stuff. Everyone's got their their smoke pole, right? We're all getting up ready for the class picture. I usually try to get a nice class picture. And instead of saying smile, I'm like, right, everyone meow. And so there's like 40 dudes all dressed up in their whatever, fatigues, mixed fatigues, right? All with their rifles on this range, just 40 dudes or 40 some dudes meowing. Sounded like you're in the middle of a beehive, except a cat hive, maybe, right? If there is such a thing. Kind of a strange experience. And dudes are like, whoa, a couple of them are like, Rex, what the hell's this? What are we doing? What's this meowing? Because we meowed before in the past with podcasts and other classes, and it was a signal. Is it a top secret code, Rex? Minimize emotions and operate your weapon is what meow means. Minimize your emotional shit and operate your weapon. Is that an inside joke? Well, it can be if you didn't catch those details, right? You might just be meowing. First off, it's funny, right? It's funny to meow. But when we're meowing, back in the day, people were asking, what the hell was that about? Like, you didn't catch all the details. There's a lot of details in what we do in the training. A guy's even written it on the board at classrooms before. And there's been variations of meow, right? Minimize exponents and observe the wind, for example, which is basically minimizing your emotion and operating the weapon on a more technical level, right? But what do I mean by that? And tell you what, man, there's a lot of emotional, and if you already typed in the comments below, this is a public post where the undisciplined passerbys can just come in and emote immediately. They start hammering away on the keyboard right here before they even know what we're talking about. Well, it's all this meowing is like not making a lot of sense around here, Rex. Quit being so emotional and go shoot your rifle. Minimize emotion and operate weapon. How about that? Why are you worried about what other people are doing so much? I've never seen as many 14-year-old girls with beards and fatigues and, the Gadsden flag shirt as I've seen in the gun world of emotional dudes with beards. Bearded 14-year-old girls. Emotional, like, yeah, so-and-so likes this other brand. Like, what? Brand? What brand are we talking about? Rex doesn't even like whirlwind scopes. Rex doesn't even like Schlutenberg dynamics. Like, the hell are you talking? You're emotional? You're emotional about your kit? Whoa, Nelly. That's a good one. Emotional about the little dress you put on your dolly, huh? Yeah. See, this is why I don't train in public so much anymore, right? Maybe did that occur to anybody? Rex, you slowed down on your training schedule. No, I didn't. I'm training more dudes right now this week than I've ever trained before. And guess what? Maybe you just didn't hear about it because it's not public as it used to be. Why? Because I despise 14-year-old girls and just, like that look like dudes with beards. You got your pokey, cool, like tough guy stuff all over you. And you got your, you get up, whether you be a biker or a cowboy or a veteran or a constitutional guy or whatever the hell it is, but you act. Your operating system is a 14-year-old girl because you identify and get offended by stuff as frivolous as your kit. I don't know any construction worker who identifies with whatever brand of freaking claw hammer they use. Or if you don't, so-and-so doesn't like my brand of roofing hammer. And then they go on social media. Do construction workers who have actual construction jobs go in on their Facebook page where it's a picture of them on their Facebook page with their hammer? I mean, holy smokes, right there ought to give you a clue. There's your Facebook page thumbnail image of you with your construction hat and a hammer, like, just wanted everyone to know I'm a construction worker around here. Like, there's our first indicator. And then they go on their Facebook page and get emotional about a different dude outside their sphere of control. Has nothing to do with them. They get emotional because a different dude didn't respect the new dress they have on their dolly. What? I don't train 14-year-old girls with beards. What do I mean by that? So the algorithm doesn't get confused. Grown-ass men who act like little girls. That's what I mean by it, which is a huge majority of the gun world, and Antifa, and the cowboys, and the bikers, and the purple-haired whatevers. The world is full of it. It's like, just because you put a different uniform on the same operating system doesn't really make it a different creature, does it? Yeah, but I'm wearing like a black shirt, with tough guy stuff written on it. Like mess with me and find out, mister. Like, wearing a shirt of how tough you are? That's an indicator, man. How about let's minimize the emotion and just operate the weapon? How about that? And try to share some technical stuff with some dudes like, hey, man, this design is cool. Other guys, it's not as good as the one I like. First off, you like things. Second off, it's not as good as that one. Why? Like, what is the function of you piping in to complain about other people's technical tool choices? Because you want to identify as something you ain't, don't you? You're not a shooter. You're an emoter. No. Okay. So you engage in shooting, and yes, you won your little trophy, or yes, you're tough and all this other stuff, right? Why are you so emotional? Why so emotional, man? It is hilarious to us who actually know how this deal works. You know what? Actual real guys that do that stuff in real life for work, 24/7. Like when I talk to my elders who got like 30 plus years SOF experience, you know what I mean? They're like, dude, like, this is why we don't hang out with those kind of people. Because they're 14-year-old girls. And they're emotional. It's just ridiculous. They can't even be around it. It's too dumb. It's like, I'm not cut out for operating a daycare, Rex. I don't want to go hang out around a daycare. That's why I'm not online, right? It's baby poop just flying everywhere. He doesn't like my scope. It's my favorite scope. I'm like, the hell? Can't you just like dial whatever you got to the right number and then shoot the target? Can't we just minimize the emotion and operate the weapon? Can't we just minimize all those kind of emotional exponents and observe the wind, man? Oh no. You gotta create this thing, and you gotta import I don't even know what kids watch on TV. Clarissa Explains It All. Is that the Nickelodeon 14-year-old girl drama that's on TV now? Import that into your life and post all that shit all over all your stuff. Well, and then you identify with your kit, identify with your brand, identify with your participation trophies. Identify that you created your own little tree fort and awarded yourself a trophy in your tree fort, and now you have your, cool, I don't care, that's fine, you can do whatever you want. But when you start vomiting out of your tree fort onto people walking by the sidewalk, it's like, don't be surprised when actual men don't want to play with you. And over the years, I never had the heart to tell a lot of people this, right? Just kind of like, don't want to play with them anymore, man. I just don't really want to play with people like that anymore. Zero opportunity to grow because they can't get past themselves. They're continuously tripping over all their emotional untied shoelaces. They get stuck in the dumbest shit. It's funny, right? Don't fall victim to that one, guys. It's an important thing for the young men who are trying to grow up to be men at some point. That's their objective, is to be a man at some point. It's important for us as the elders to find those pathetic weaklings, even if, they're 50 years old. That doesn't mean shit. Like, there's 50 and 60 and 70-year-old dudes that do this just as bad as, 14-year-old girls. In fact, it's prevalent in some of those demographics. But we need to find those kind of people who operate with their feelings bags, just gushing all the time on whatever. Emoting how about this one? Emoting, did you hear what happened in Turkmenistan, Rex? Nope. Why don't you even pay attention? Your analysis on Turkmenistan is wrong. Like, bro, I'm not in Turkmenistan. I'm in North Dakotastan. Whatever happens in Turkmenistan is for them people to worry about. That's outside my sphere of control. I do not attach myself or my moral operating system on the plight of the people of Turkmenistan. Frankly, I don't know shit about it besides they have, their president drives around this giant flaming hole in a dune buggy on TV. And they're a little bit weird. And they have really white, buildings in their city. And there's nobody walking in there. It's a weird place. But besides that, I don't know not much about it. They got big sheep there, I hear. They got big mountains, pretty remote country. But I'm going to get emotionally invested in the people of Turkmenistan for what exact reason? Don't you have problems in your own house? How's your wife doing? How about let's start there? I don't want to pay attention to that, Rex. I want to worry about other people's problems. Why is that? Because you're not man enough to own your own life and fix your own problems in your own life? Why? So we're doing some advanced concepts course over on Patreon where we talk about this kind of stuff ad nauseum and how to navigate around it. And honestly, I'm not operating way above that, right? If you're bogged down by stuff that you could only possibly be worried about because it was on this little rectangle where you touch the screen and hey, is your Facebook? Hey, did you see on Instagram? You know who worries about shit that's on their phones? If it's not in my yard, then how am I going to know about it? I would have to know through my phone if it's not in my sphere of control. I have a perimeter around my yard that I have to worry about my perimeter. I don't need to worry about Turkmenistan's perimeter or whatever. It doesn't affect me. I control my yard. There are no unauthorized trespassers in my area of my thing because I man my yard. Now, if I was in my telephone all day, I can tell who the 14-year-old girls are based on what they get upset about. What are you so emotional about? I'm like, you only possibly could have heard about that through your phone. Who worries about what's on their phone? 14-year-old girls, that's who. Are you a man of your own castle, bro? You got to become a man of your own castle and perfect your castle and get your own little personal fortress squared away before you start getting emotional and worrying about the plight of the homeless people of Turkmenistan or wherever. Oh, I got a real heart for those Turkmenistanians. Get off your phone! Do you realize that your life sucks in your actual sphere of control because you're on here the whole time? Your wife left. Your kids are all turning into a bunch of little sissies because Papa's in his phone like a 14-year-old girl. They're gonna Follow your steps, man. Emoting about stuff that you could only possibly know on your phone. Well, actually, I think this. Like, let me send him a link. That'll learn because, like, my podcast show is smarter about this thing. Like, freaking 14-year-old girl, I don't want to hang out with you anymore. How about let's worry about what's in our yard? Your own yard. Right? I'm like, for me to worry about the people of Turkmenistan or some other dude on the other side of the country. Well, Rex doesn't even like this. He doesn't even respect us for our trophies we give ourselves. First of all, I respect you for your trophies. There you go. You can have it. Give the baby his baba. There you go. I respect you for your trophies. Are you happy now? 14-year-old girl? Holy smokes, bro. Like, but you're worried about what I'm thinking across the country? You don't even never met me. You know how I know that you're a 14-year-old girl? Is because you must have got upset at Rex and Rex's opinions like they affect your life somehow because you're on your phone too much. Own your own shit. That is my public service announcement. If you digs what I got to say, we're train our way out of Babylon over on the Patreon channel. And if you're one of these, like, here's the deal. Check yourself before you just start hammering away in the comments. And if you want to be serious about investing in your well-being and fortifying your actual position in life, and if you want assistance in navigating your way out of this and in getting the skills needed to survive what's coming from the context of what the book says, I'm not here to I am not going to act religious for you. I'm not going to act clean cut. I'm not going to comb my hair and tuck in my shirt and put the flowers on the right side of the altar or whatever the hell your thing is. I'm only going to go off of what the truth is. To not tell you the truth, can't do it. So the truth is the truth, whether you like it or not. So just know that before you sign up. And if some of these things offend your sensitivities because you were trained in a different system than what the book is, now, how do you know that too? There's other things besides the phone that get people emotional. Are you emotional because Preacher Bob said repeatedly that in order to be a good guy in his Preacher Bob's church, that you have to act a certain kind of pompous way with a certain kind of hairdo and a certain kind of suit that you wear and you stand up front and wave your arms around and shit? That's your version of righteousness, man? No, we're not going to play that game. So don't even sign up if that's the way you operate. If you want to know what the actual book says, if you want to know why, when Yeshua came, right? Jesus, when he came, he wanted to hang out with fishermen more than those type of people. He didn't pick a lot of those pompous church guys, did he? He usually fought against them. Why? Because he was in love with the truth, man. Right? We're in love with the truth. I appreciate you guys. If you want to, if you want to invest in this project in a way more meaningful than just words, and I appreciate your prayers and your words too, but if you want to offer material support to the mission that's been here, you can read it in the channel description here in TiborasaurusRex on YouTube. I haven't changed my channel description since the day I posted this channel. It's always been the thing. Rex, where's your gun videos? I don't want to get a bunch of emotional girls all ramped up on more gun videos, man. It's ridiculous. I might do some here and there, okay? I might do some here and there because there's stuff that a guy can learn. I learned my lesson on that one, right? It's funny. I was just talking with a brother of mine today, TJ, actually. Bear Independent. I don't know if you know that channel. Go check it out. If you like this channel, you'll really like that channel too. We were talking about that. When I was growing up, and especially after I left home, for that next 15 years or so, I only hung out around people that kick ass. And I mean people that take whatever they do seriously. If that dude was a garbage man, and he was a good garbage man, that's the kind of person I'd hang out with. If the dude was a scholar, not a bullshit one, but a real one, I would hang out with that dude. But I didn't like hanging around a lot of, I like hanging around people that kick ass as much as they possibly can, okay? And I didn't realize, I didn't hang out with that many people, mind you, back in those days. It was a very, very small clique. A couple elders that were very well seasoned, a few select friends, but it wasn't like a huge amount of friends. It was not the social media deal, right? But after I started getting out more, like in this country, because I've been to other countries way before I ever hung out in this one, right? But when I started getting around this country and I started seeing more of the depth of the true operating system of the men in this country, it's not a mystery why we're hanging by a thread. It is not a mystery why the United States of America is hanging by a thread over the cliff of oblivion. It is not a mystery. There's no conspiracy. There are no men in this country. There's like 6. I hope a few of you are those guys, right? Okay? Everyone's entitled. They think they deserve everything for free. They don't have any sense of value. They don't have any sense of who their true friends are. Not the ones that bullshit them to bolster up their ego, but their true friends are the ones going to tell them the truth because they love them to help them, right? They don't have any sense of what's valuable. They stare at the magic mirror all day like 14-year-old girls. That's why the country's hanging off the thread, because everyone in this country is on their phone worrying about Ohio when they live in California, worried about California when they live in Montana. The hell are you going to worry about California when you're in Montana for? Politicians. Like, dude, don't even get me started on that one. Talk about the scribes and Pharisees on crack. The politicians and the religious guys all deserve each other. And quite frankly, the men in this country deserve the politicians and the leaders of the church. They did not come from the moon. I am here to tell you they did not come from the moon. They came from our culture. So I was shocked when I finally sunk in. I'm like, oh no. This is actually, and it's hard to tell what people post on the thing. Sometimes it's very easy, right? But when you get to really pressure test the vessel of any man, right? Just give them a little bit of pressure, just a little bit. Failure. It's like, okay, man, well, shit. There's not a lot more we can add to this workload. There's not a lot more we can add to this set of skills that is already here, right? Because everyone's branches of their trees are so overloaded with all their stinking, rotten, self-centered fruit of their own pride and their own ego that if you add one more feather to that branch, the branch and the whole tree will break off because it's carrying so much of their own damn pride and ego. And you can't load it down with anything good. There's no room on their tree for good fruit. And guess what? A good tree produces good fruit. A bad tree produces bad fruit. These are ancient pieces of wisdom that we have failed to recognize. We're so worried about what's happening somewhere else. Or, I got a question in today. I'm going to answer it over on Patreon. People asking questions, very interesting questions, but the dilemmas of people in religion land too is like very baffling to me. They're worried about like the definitions of the Godhead. And there's a lot of confusion there. There is, isn't there? Rex, what do you think of it? I'm going to talk about it on Patreon, but here's the main point. I'll give you the gist of it. We are worried about stuff that is not the functional issue. It's the wrong worrying point. What we sit in a chair and worry about and what we sit in a chair and think we understand or think we believe doesn't matter functionally to what he told us we need to worry about. We need to worry about that we're not up to the challenge to do what he told us to do. We need to worry that we will just sit in a chair and get distracted with the designated distraction of the day, the designated crisis of the day. Whatever your rectangle tells you to be upset about, whether it be a CNN or your favorite podcast show, whatever your little rectangle tells you to emote about is what you emote about. And I can see the pattern because it's like the game of like one domino flips over and all of a sudden all of them are flipped over Like, how could everyone possibly be worried about this one issue out of billions and billions of issues? In the same category that are even worse, everyone is focused on this one. Why? And that changes every week. Whatever see, this week, it's a huge deal. Just pick whatever it is in your mind. You can leave it below if you want. Oh, Rex, here's the UFOs or this or that or like this country or this state. That's the designated crisis delivered to you via Lucifer's rectangle of death that you keep in your pocket. It is designed to distract you from what you need to know to survive, what you need to do to survive. Okay? And so I'm going to go answer, and we're going to continue over on Patreon there. We're going to continue to unravel the rat's nest as much as possible. That's the biggest struggle we have, is sifting through, like, what direction is our life pointed is what we need to worry about. What direction are you pointed? Doesn't matter what is happening over here. Doesn't matter the plight of the people of Turkmenistan or whatever, right? Or whatever, like some guy over the hill, like spilled a bucket of like nails in his driveway and his car's going to get a flat tire. Well, that sucks for him. You better go pick up those damn nails. But you to emote about that and spend 90% of your day worrying about some guy over the hill in his own driveway that you never met, gonna puncture his tires. That's his jurisdiction, man. What direction are you pointed in your life? That's a hard one to fess up to. That's a hard one to own, because it hurts to readjust. It hurts to learn new muscle memory, to learn how to establish a new firing position in which our body alignment is perfectly aligned with our weapon system, to where we can be comfortable in our position, in a new position. We don't like to admit that our old position is wrong or pointed at the wrong stuff. It's not even pointed, it's like pointed at nothing. It's pointed at stuff that's not even in your, or the target array changed. You need to be mobile. We all need to be mobile in life. We need to be able to get up and move and reestablish a new position towards the new objectives, which I hope you are realizing are the things that are within your sphere of control in your life. You need to be able to engage those issues, right? I'm telling you, it's the truth. I would not lie to you, man. I can sell more stuff if I try to get you all worked up about whatever's going on. And I can sell you more stuff that way, right? Oh man, it's so about to end, people. 6 reasons why, whatever, like, dude. It's not as sexy as the other material, right? But we need to adjust our firing position before we worry about some other guy we never met's firing position. You know what I'm saying, man? This is ancient stuff that we all think we know, but yet, if we really knew it, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. So what value is there to giving mental assent to a concept with never executing that concept in your own life? You have to dabhar the concept. Just the Greek logos is not going to cut it. The logos is not going to cut it. You have to dabhar. Okay? If you want to invest in your training to not die on Earth, come join us on Patreon. It supports the operation. I appreciate your support. Hopefully this message finds you guys on YouTube well. I am still uploading stuff over here because it is part of the mission. Okay? But if you appreciate that this mission exists here on YouTube and you want to offer your support in a meaningful, material way, come join us on Patreon. I had 15 pages of uploads, 78 unique posts. 78 posts on Patreon this month in February. February 2023 was 78 posts. January is about the same. There's dozens of pages of lists of different training posts we're doing over there. Way more material than is here. Way more serious material. If you ever want to shoot with me ever in person, or even shoot the shit with me in person, like to sit down and do even a seminar in the future, this is the prerequisite. is that you attend training in Patreon so that I know who you are before I meet you. Because I want to know who you are now. I don't want to find out. I did it the other way too, man. I want to know who you are ahead of time, so we can be friends and we can actually really learn stuff when we actually go out and do whatever it is that we're going to try to learn. Okay, so if you ever wanted to train, Patreon is the prerequisite classes. Okay? If you have any questions about that below, go ahead and ask a question, and I will try to answer to the best of my ability. I'll leave a link so that you can find where to sign up or whatever, okay, if you want to do the training on Patreon. And that does work as prerequisites for future deals. So, bless you guys. Rex out.